YouTube, arm wrestling fans all around the world. What's going on? It's me, John D. Villarreal, the four-time national champion and the super genius. And I think we're proving that tonight more than a lot of nights, because we're going to talk about what's going on. And I've been proving, in my opinion, first of all, my personal opinion only, not alleged facts, not casting any aspersions, all for entertainment purpose only. Please check all the disclaimers. In my opinion, I've been proven right again. So many things I predicted about this match have all seemed to come true. We're going to talk about that. We're also joined by PFV, the NBA expert, Paul at Villarreal. Paul, say hi to the fans. What's going on?
What's up?
People are pumped up about it. I'm also rocking my new Melon shirt here. That's cool. Want to thank the people from Melon. Just got my t-shirts. That's awesome. Broadcasting through Melon here, and I am sponsored by Melon. Generally, this video or any specific video up till now. Well, let me revise that. This specific video is not sponsored by Melon, but generally I'm sponsored by Melon. They hook me up, which is cool. And I've been doing the live streams, and we're having fun with the live streams and all of that. So yeah, we love Melon. Melon's cool, and we've been testing it out, and we're trying to make sure, we're trying to dial everything in to make sure it's the best for you out there. But anyway, let's get right back to this. Let's get back to the arm wrestling and John Brzenk. A lot of new information, a lot of new stuff. We've had the weigh-ins, we've had the final press conference. I've seen videos with Travis Beijing. We've seen one-on-ones with Brzenk. There's a lot of stuff out there. I'm going to talk about. I think everything I've said has been proven right, and I'm going to finalize my predictions because the event is going off tomorrow. But Paul, you've been sort of examining some of this stuff. What have you seen out there? What's your impression?
Yeah, start with Brzenk talking.
Well, maybe that's undetermined. I mean, it's definitely it's the rules. The rules are such that it's not as hard to get to the strap in my interpretation, but it looks like the referee, and I'll talk about that, but I mean, they had the referee in the rules briefing, and the referee's like, yeah, that'd be a foul, and he seemed to be like he was on top of it and is really looking for a fair start. So the hand strength, and Beijing was talking about that. The hand strength of Brzenk is so powerful, and in fact, that's exactly what he did to Devon Larratt. Devon Larratt was trying to slip out in 2015 match, and he was getting caught, and so he was trying to pull back, and Brzenk was just holding that thumb and boom, pinning him right down there. So, but yes, I agree with you that there are certainly ways for Larratt to get to the strap, and in some ways, John wants a strap sometimes, although I think not having a strap favors him. So I do expect, here's the bottom line, I do expect the match to go to a strap. I just don't know that it's always going to go to their strap. I think that we may see a couple of rounds where it doesn't go to the strap, but who knows? But anyway, I didn't want to interrupt your flow. I just want to put that out there. Go ahead.
Yeah, I guess the way that Brzenk was talking.
Yep. Oh yeah. 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 Mhm. Yes, for sure. Yeah. But he said he's really been working on his endurance. And in fact, he was even saying that he would test Devon's endurance at one point. And listen, I will say this real quick. We've seen a situation where into the 2015 situation where with their last match, and that's the other thing people forget. Yes, Larratt just crushed Michael Todd, and he was up to 290 pounds, and John Brzenk's 57, and all this type of stuff. But people forget that their very last matchup, John Brzenk destroyed him. Okay, and after John Brzenk had a bad position and was kind of bled out by Larratt, he came back, boom, boom, 2 rounds, just crushed him. But go ahead, Paul. Yeah. Right. So let me put a couple things on the table right now. All right. So basically, the weigh-in went exactly like I said. In my opinion, you had John Brzenk weighed in at roughly 251, 252 pounds, right? I think it was like 114 kilos. Let's make sure that I've got my conversion right. And, so he was right there. So basically, Brzenk was right where I thought he was going to be. And I said that. And Devon Larratt, surprise, surprise, weighed in exactly where I thought he was going to be. He weighed in at 285. What did I say? I said 280, 285. That's where I thought it was going to be. Now, Larratt's like, well, in street clothes in the morning, 275. Okay, whatever, But so it's right in the zone that I thought I was going to be. So no surprise there. So Devon Larratt is not as big, at least weighing as much, heavy, as when he faced Michael Todd. Right? So, and, you've got John Brzenk, who's been as big as we've pretty much ever seen him. All right? And then at the weigh-in, when they faced up, and of course, Larratt's taller and everything, and he grabbed his hand and, okay, trying to do this little stuff. But when they had that last pose, and you should look at it, where he had the forearm and everything like that, straight on. People I don't think anyone said this. John Brzenk's forearm is massive. It just totally outshines and dwarfs Devon Larratt. Now, Devon Larratt's longer lever and everything, but John Brzenk's forearms are just insane. And if you look at that at that press conference when they size up, it's just like, Brzenk looks like he's got bigger biceps. He looks like he's got a bigger chest. He looks like he's got bigger deltoids. Okay, Larratt's got the longer levers and stuff like that. Larratt tries to, pull his hand and try to do some stuff, and John's like, okay, whatever. He's trying to shake him up. Who knows? But then Larratt, when they square up, boom, right there, I'm freezing. Wow. You gotta look at this, right? This is at like the, 1 hour, 27 minute, and 49 second spot of the press conference, right? Larry Wills put this up. If you look at that and you freeze it right there, and you see John Brzenk's forearm, right? You can have it up while you're watching my show, no problem. You look, okay, Devon Larratt, it looks pumped up. He's got this and that. He's got big hands. But you look, John Brzenk, it's like, it almost looks like Zoc, dude. The dude's got like almost 2 forearms in there. Just ridiculous development right here. Just ridiculous. And his hand, his fingers look like just everything looks bigger than Larratt, other than the length of Larratt's levers. So the power of John Brzenk, I think, is absolutely going to be on display tomorrow. I think people don't even understand. I'm telling you right now, that looks to me a good 20%, 25% bigger than Devon Larratt. And his wrist, the bone structure, it all looks bigger than Larratt. Now look, Larratt looks in shape and he looks good, but at the press conference, Brzenk was kind of firing back at him, and I could see, and he's like, 2008. He's basically, dude, I told you I was hurt, and you still wanted to pull me. And Neil Pickup, and he was my interpretation. Some may interpret it like, look, Brzenk was kind of punking out. Maybe, possibly, potentially, my interpretation, my opinion, Neil Pickup. But he basically, and Larratt, he basically looks like, look, dude, I told you, Devon, I wasn't ready to pull you in 2008. And it was like he had a couple weeks of notice, and Larratt, he was all shook up. And he didn't, and almost like trying to cut John off. It's like, dude, what Travis Beijing said, and Travis Beijing predicted that it was a good little interview about that. And Travis Beijing predicted that John Brzenk's going to win. And what Beijing said basically was, there's no time. I mean, yes, you know, he admitted to being a hater of Larratt because in the terms of the fans and the social media presence and being the face of the sport. But he basically said, look, Larratt's great. He's awesome, but he's just not on the same level as Brzenk. You know, and also it's funny, Larratt was really getting into it with Ernest Gasparini about like facing European arm wrestlers and stuff like that. We'll talk about that in a second. But what Beijing was basically saying is, yes, stipulate that, you know, I like John more than I like, you know, Devon Larratt. Stipulate that John Brzenk is 57 years old. But basically he's like, look, there's never been a time where Brzenk really cared about a match that he didn't win. And I think you look at his history, and we've seen that. And it's not like, I mean, there's other top elite pullers that are that. Yes. Ricky, I know. We're going to talk about it. We'll probably do a live stream on the UFC next. I've been following some of that, so we'll definitely probably be talking about that. There's a lot of stuff going on this weekend. But what I was going to say is, I think there's a lot to that. I mean, the resume of John Brzenk is just so ridiculous. And again, you know, it's today. It's not what happened before. But basically, what Beijing was saying is, look, John looks great. He looks fantastic. If he you know, basically got a haircut, maybe dyed his hair, you think the guy's 30s. Now I don't know about that, but I think it's not like Travis Beijing's 20 years. Or sorry, it's not like Devon Larratt is 20 years old either. So you know what I mean? Like I think that maybe the rules, like Paul says, maybe the rules do favor Devon Larratt in some respects, but I do think we're going to have a lot closer refereeing. I don't think they're going to let Larratt get away with all the crazy antics and the super regrips and the run into the straps and you know King's move, submarine style. All that. I don't think that's going to happen. I think we're going to see a much more fair setup. I like the rules briefing by Bill Collins. I think that it was like, look, you know, when with a bunch of athletes, look, that's a foul. Look, you have to set up even. We just want to see a fair start. So I think that's good. And maybe they'll re-examine the rules later to try to keep a lot of things out of the straps. I mean, that's the thing. I don't think anyone minds if a match goes to the strap, but it's one thing to always go to the strap or always run to the strap, you know. But here's my bottom line. The weigh-ins, the press conference, the back and forth, other people analyzing this, the weights being where I thought they were, everything's going exactly the way I thought it was going to go. I think John Brzenk looks better than he has. And you look at this run-up. I mean, he hasn't just won. He's destroyed people. Okay? I mean, and not nobody's. Chance Shaw, Cody Merritt, you know, Paul Sill. I mean, just destroying people. I think that John Brzenk, I mean, listen, Devon Larratt's there to win. Make no mistake. Devon Larratt looks great. So we're going to see vintage Devon Larratt. We're going to see vintage John Brzenk. But I think, you know, even a reasonably good John Brzenk beats Devon Larratt like 9 times out of 10, right? And I think that that's what the record shows. I mean, the one time that Devon Larratt beat John Brzenk, it was special circumstances. John was light. If you listen to John, he wasn't ready. He was hurt. I mean, all kinds of stuff. So, you know, and that was really getting to Devon Larratt. He's like, oh, we'll show it tomorrow. Okay. All right, we'll see. You can see that Brzenk's winning the mind games. And if you look at that press conference, you can see that. And it's not even mind games if it's all true, right? I mean, Devon's trying to put on nothing wrong with it. It's great. You got to hype a fight. You know, Devon's trying to put on a persona. Brzenk's not as much into that. He's just more of a steely type of thing, but he's kind of picked up a little bit of that maybe. But I think Brzenk's got this probably 4-2, 5-1. I can see if Brzenk's uncomfortable, if he's in the wrong position, that he gives up a loss there to just not get bled out. Devon Larratt's going to be. I think we're going to see King's moves. I think we're going to see restraps going to the strap or resets going to the strap. I think we're going to see talking. I think we're going to see all kinds of things. You know, Bill Collins has to be on this. Just, watch for everything. Watch for everything. Hand setup, curl-ins, loading up, pulling back, early, full starts. Look for everything. I'm not accusing of anything, but I think, they're both very, very competitive, and sometimes it's even just an accident, whatever. But I think you're going to have to look for everything. But to the extent, let me qualify what I'm going to say. To the extent that Bill Collins has control over this match and we have a fair setup, I like John Brzenk 4-2, 5-1 or more, right? I mean, and Brzenk basically said, look, the first 2 rounds, I'm just going after it. Now, the other thing and even Michael Todd talked about this, and I'll get you right back in here, Paul, about the shutout stakes and everything like that. And we're not talking about anything like that, but this is just what someone else said. We're just going to comment on what someone else says. And obviously there's, they're doing everything. We're just going to talk about the general stuff. We're making a news commentary and a personal opinion about stuff. We're not getting into any detail. We're not advising anything, or etc. In terms of the motivation of that, possibly that basically what they said, and I think that came from Devon supposedly. And again, we're just trying to analyze this from a news perspective. That may make Larratt that could put potential pressure on Larratt, such that if Brzenk wins one early, that's like a moral victory, and that can really mess with the head of Devon Larratt, right? Especially if there's, depending on what happened there. So he can put. What I'm saying is if Brzenk wins a round early, that can put Larratt on black. And again, we're not talking about it, odds or betting or anything like that. We're not saying anything. We're not making any commentary on that. You can check other people what they said about just generally whatever. We're not talking about that. But I'm just talking. Let me put it this way: in terms of a prediction, in terms of the bragging rights, in terms of the analysis, in terms of all that type of stuff, and everything you do is at your own risk, of course. And we're not giving any advice or anything like that. And check all the disclaimers. In terms of the bragging rights, Larratt said he was going to shut him out, just like Michael Todd. Right? When Michael Todd said to Devon Larratt, when Michael Todd lost that first round to Devon Larratt, you could see he was mentally and then he lost the second round, and he's going to his wife and stuff. So, I mean, if I remember correctly, he was mentally beat. If John Brzenk beats Devon Larratt that first 1 or 2 rounds, I think the dude's on tilt. I think there's a major mental edge there for John Brzenk. Paul, what do you think about that?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's very chill, very at peace. And what you said earlier is the case. Yeah, look, he's 57 years old, but as the other person said, he never loses.
Well,
He's never almost.
and what Brzenk said, and let me say, sorry, but what Brzenk said, and this really started. He's like, yeah, what do you basically? This is my paraphrase. What do you do when you lose after this? It's like so the questioner was saying something, and he said basically like he may never arm wrestle again, and like Larratt's like going crazy and stuff like that. But I mean, if you think about it, Larratt should have. I mean, this is the best match. This is the best match and I'm so happy that they both took it, and this is what everybody wants to see. But from a personal business standpoint, I don't know this was so super smart for Devon Larratt. Devon Larratt should have just chased down Levon or somebody like that. I mean, because if you lose to Levon, I don't think that damages the reputation or the career of Devon Larratt. But if you lose to John Brzenk, even though he is the greatest of all time, stuff like that, Devon Larratt's been running around saying, "Oh, John, you should have retired. Oh, you're not ready. Oh, I'm going to blow you out of the table. Oh, you're not ready. Oh, the shoulder's going to." He was going to say, "Oh, if you basically position it like this guy's basically, shouldn't even show up at the table, and he wrecks you, dude. Basically, that's kind of what I think Brzenk was saying is, you can kiss that match with Levon goodbye. I mean, along with everything else. And what's your 450,000, 500,000, 400,000, whatever it is, YouTube subscribers going to say about that? What about what happens to all the green hoodies? What happens there, dude? I mean, so So, I mean, listen, Larratt, great ambassador for sure. I mean, he's done amazing things. So, but it definitely changed the dynamic. And all the attention and all the heat goes on John Brzenk. And that definitely sets up Brzenk versus Levon. And people are like, oh, don't face Levon. Listen, John Brzenk faced and defeated Saplinkov. So, the other thing, too, is, John Brzenk's been at the top of the game for, 30 years, 40 years. I mean, just a lot. I mean, like a long time.
Like the 82.
Yeah, I mean,
18 years old.
yeah, almost 40 years, dude. Like Levon's great, but how long has Levon been on the scene, and how long has Levon been at this level, right? So, I mean, like Saplinkov. Saplinkov was, looked superhuman until he didn't. Right? So, I mean, still, Saplinkov would destroy me, but Saplinkov of today is not the Saplinkov of 4 or 5 years ago. So, we'll see. I mean, anyone that walks around almost 400 pounds, and they're really, big and strong and stuff like that. I mean, I don't think that's in my personal opinion, and again, I'm not alleging anything or whatever. I'm just my personal opinion, just analyzing, sports and stuff. I don't think that's, I don't know, I don't think they hang around. I don't think they hang around at the top level as long as John Brzenk. That's my opinion on that, Paul. So let's get back to this. So I think that Levon is amazing. And a super athlete, and probably absolutely, I don't think anyone questions that he's number one right now. But there's a lot of people. Look at Gennady. I mean, Gennady looks absolutely massive and ready to go against Hermes. I mean, and Hermes is the giant killer. I mean, he's able to do some stuff. I mean, Hermes weighed in at he's pretty stout. But I think he weighed in around 275, I think. But then, Gennady is weighed in at like 320 or something, 315. I have to look exactly. I had all the stats before. But the point being is, I think there's people knocking on Levon's door, right? Vitaly Larratt, right? I mean, so... But John Brzenk is back in the conversation big time. That's what I'm talking about. So all I'm trying to say is, I'm not alleging or accusing anybody of anything. All I'm saying is, with the greatest of all time back, and with the progression that he's had, as fast as he's had, and the motivation, and now he's doing the social media, and now he's got the limelight, and now everyone's, I mean, I can see the motivation being there for Brzenk and the GOAT. If he's able to crush or even just beat Larratt, I think that squares him right up with Levon. And I don't buy everyone like, oh, for sure, no chance against Levon. I wouldn't say that. I mean, I think a lot of people, I think Levon's great. I think there's a lot of people starting to, figure out how to beat Levon. And I'm not saying they will or they won't, but there's different things that can happen there. Dave Chafee wants some rounds against Saplinkov. Lupke's had Saplinkov in some trouble too. So there's different things that can happen. Okay, now, bottom line, what do I predict? I predict John Brzenk's going to win. I think they're both in this match. I think they're both in great shape. Nothing would surprise me. It's really going to come down a lot to, as you said, Paul, how much they're in the straps. Definitely the refereeing. I think that Bill Collins has to maintain control of the match. We have to have a fair setup. This is all my predictions contingent on a fair setup, or at least a fair enough setup and enough times. And, of course, anyone can get injured. Different things can happen. Hopefully nobody does. But I would think that, as any time it doesn't go to the strap, Larratt's in trouble, right? For sure. And I think that if John wins a couple early, Larratt's in trouble. And I think he knows it. I think if Brzenk gets up early, Larratt's in trouble. If we have a fair setup, then I think that John Brzenk's going to win this 4-1, 4-2, 5-1. Could be 6-0. I don't think he cares. Well, maybe he does. I don't know. He might care. I mean, that's the thing. Larratt could have fired him up. I mean, you're talking about, we've seen this with Jordan. We've seen Jordan retired and show up to practices and punk out people that were talking some smack. You could have awakened the fire in the GOAT, right? Devon Larratt, and now you're gonna have to face the consequences. That not only is he gonna beat you, he might humiliate you on a world stage. It's amazing. Paul, what's your prediction? Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, you know, what
Oh yeah, yeah. And listen, we give props to Larratt. Larratt's tremendous. He's proven himself to be obviously world class. World champion, hammer winning, WAL, and I think I appreciate his responses to Gasparini. Gasparini was all like, "Oh, you haven't faced the Europeans," and he's like, "What are you talking about?" It's like you could have came over. First of all, he's like nobody's been doing much of anything last couple of years. Hello, number one, number two. Like he faced Saplinkov, he faced a bunch of other people came over WAL and got beat, and that's the problem is that. Look, Europeans are great, and there's great arm wrestlers everywhere, right? But there's different promotions that the North American arm wrestlers have, and there's different promotion that the UK and European arm wrestlers have. And there's different promotions that Russian. I mean, there's different promotions. They don't always, and each of them have great arm wrestlers, and they don't always, sync up, right? And that just happens. And
yeah.
so, but what Larratt was basically saying is that, listen, I was beating the people that were going over there and beating you guys. And, when people came over here, we were beating them and we had the most money over here. And, listen, it's not like, it's only been here's the thing. It's only been very recent. And I don't know what everybody does. I mean, there may be in some countries and some systems where people get paid to arm wrestle or whatever. It's a pro thing. I don't know. I have no idea. But, certainly recently, it's only been very recently that there's been any kind of significant exposure, maybe prize money, stuff like that. So it's not like, if you're paying your own way, how many people other than for glory or have the time, can take time off work, are going to be able to like fly, halfway across the world to be at a tournament for, a couple days of, it's not, bring their family. It's not a cheap deal, dude. So, you're losing money to do that. So I don't think you can call someone out, Hermes, if for not hopping on a plane and having to fly over the world and stuff. And if you think, if there's supposedly the world ranked people are the best over here, whatever, then you got to go to them. But what's cool about what's happening in Dubai, what's so awesome is it's kind of like a place that a lot of people want to go. It's really set up for a lot of these great events and stuff. And people, they're doing an amazing job hosting this stuff and people want to go see things. And so it's kind of a cool thing, but again, it's pretty new, right? It's a pretty new phenomenon. So, yeah. You know what I mean? And it reminds me again of powerlifting. It's like, dude, you got to pay your, you got to pay your own way. And I could have gone to a lot more world championships in my opinion, or a lot more nationals. I could have gone to a lot of different tournaments. But it's like, do I want to fly to wherever, halfway around the world? And the answer was no, I didn't. I got ready for the one that was in the U.S. and I did that, right? Because it was just way easier. I literally was able to drive to it, right? And rather than taking a 15-hour, 16-hour, 18-hour flight, hop into two different destinations by myself. If I bring anyone, so, and listen, I would have, that's fine. if I was motivated and fired up, if there was a reason for me to do it, I would have done it. That's not a big deal. And there was one time where I was geared up for it, for World Juniors, and I would have been having to, probably go to Europe or something like that. And that would have been totally cool. But I got hurt, and if I would have done that, it would have cost a lot of money, and and all. I've spent a lot of money going to different tournaments over the years, and I'm not making an argument one way or the other. I'm saying Hermes Gasparini, you can't put someone on blast because they're not going to spend big money to go ahead and face you and stuff like that, and if they didn't think again, you were beat by Matt Mask. Now you just punked out Matt Mask. You did a good job, but you were beat by Matt Mask, who Devon Larratt routinely beat. So why would he jump on a flight to go face you in Europe? I'm a Gasparini fan. I think the guy's good, but I think sometimes he gets a little out there, in my opinion. and with some of the opinions, so Garani had a good response to that. But again, what's so fun about all this is we've got all these great personalities, right? And now we're again Dubai, Core Sports. I mean, Strong Gym. I mean, Larry Wheels, right? Larry Wheels. That there are so many people. There's a lot of attention and focus on this, on powerlifting now, and some of these exhibition matches and the arm wrestling, and it's a great time to be a strength athlete. It's a great time to get in the mix on here, and there's a lot of things, and this is exactly what we need to see happen. So, and again, going back to Neil Pickup and stuff like that. I mean, the dude's a great promoter and stuff like that. So, I understand what John Brzenk is saying, and we want to see, but Neil Pickup and some of, Giants Live. I mean, unbelievable, right? I mean, just in a lot of these different things. So people want to see this. This is what the fans want to see. They want to see these athletes. They want to see them showcased. They want to see interesting, fun events. They want to engage with them. So, and social media and the live streams and getting the comments from everyone here. So it's great. I mean, I wish I was. Competing now, right? It would be awesome. And I'm Peter. I mean, you never know. I don't know. I'm not, probably very much, probably not, but you never know. It's an exciting time. Paul, final comments. So that's my final prediction. Brzenk, if there's a fair setup, nobody gets hurt, referee has control of the match, and it doesn't always run to the strap, I like Brzenk 4-2. 5-1, maybe even a 6-0. I think Brzenk wins a first early round or two, and I think it puts Larratt on blast. And I think if at any point in time, I think Larratt has it exactly opposite. Like, oh, you've got to have total control the whole time, and I'm going to bleed you out, John. Is that? I think if Larratt doesn't have total control the whole time, particularly if Brzenk wins early, I think the mental thing of Larratt can all come crashing down. I think he's looking at the social media. I think he knows that people are on to the tactics and tricks. I think he's basically said, look, I'm going to try it. This is the way I'm geared up. It's like a fight and whatever like that. And you have to foul me out, whatever. And listen, I want Bill Collins should step up. Where am I in the rankings? Oh, Big Daddy, Jerry Cadorette. Now, Jerry Cadorette, I'm going to hit this for a second. I love Jerry Cadorette calling out Chance Shaw. I think that's awesome. I think that's absolutely fantastic. Jerry Cadorette is absolutely legit, very real, stuff like that. Jerry, here's the thing about Jerry. I think Jerry is phenomenal. I'd love to have Jerry on the show because listen, I'm a professional. I may not have 50, 100, 1,000 YouTube videos on arm wrestling, but I'm a national champion, multinational champion, took third in the world in powerlifting. I followed all this stuff, and more importantly, I'm a professional talk show host. Okay, major market talk radio stuff. I can answer, I can ask questions, I can make people look awesome. We can get right to it. Jerry Cadorette's a great arm wrestler. He's an elite arm wrestler. He's right there. I think Cadorette's just like right below that top level. I think if Cadorette worked on a couple different things, you got to hit that cardio, you got to do some different things, flexibility. I think Cadorette could definitely be in that picture. Tremendous power, shown endurance, obviously in that Michael Todd match. Yeah, I love it. I love the arm wrestling trolls. There's so many different great arm wrestling trolls. It's great. It's awesome. All the great arm wrestlers have their little trolls, have the various trolls, and it's awesome. That's fantastic. So no, Cadorette's great. I mean, and I want to see him beat Chance Shaw. Now, Chance Shaw's cool. He's a fellow Floridian. We would love to see Chance Shaw as well. But I think that Chance Shaw is biting off a little bit too much in that matchup with Cadorette. Cadorette's a big dude, very big dude. He gets you in that press, even a press with a flop, and you're in all kinds of trouble. Cadorette turns a shoulder in. That's a very, very tough person to beat right there. So, look, I think that Bill Collins may have to, you may have to look. The first win for Devon Larratt could be, for John Brzenk could be Devon Larratt fouling out, and Collins has to step up and take control of the match and has to do it. You know what I mean? Like, that's it, dude. I mean, we want to see a fair start, and that's what it is. So, what my impression of it is John Brzenk saying, "I'm the greatest arm wrestler of all time, and I'm going to prove it." And I think Devon Larratt's like, "Look, I just want to win." And so It's very interesting, but at the same time, it's obvious that Devon Larratt has that they're cool, and Devon Larratt has definitely respect for John Brzenk. And I think you were talking about this before, Paul, that Devon Larratt doesn't pull or can't pull the same tactics on John Brzenk that he does for other arm wrestlers or in other matches. Go ahead, Paul. What are your so that's where I'm at on it. I like if, as long as it's even remotely fair, I like John Brzenk in this, but I think it's very live. It's anything can happen. They're both ready, and this is why everybody wants to see this. This is so exciting. Paul, go ahead. Your final thoughts.
Yeah,
All right.
different promotion. Sign with promoters, you sign with promotions, and that's what you do. It's not whatever. At least it hasn't always been that way, and maybe it's starting to change. But Brzenk doesn't have he doesn't have to prove anything to anybody. Everybody knows how great he is, and the guy's 57 years old. What do you want?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it was more about Hermes Gasparini versus Devon Larratt and different things. And there's some people that think that the best arm wrestlers of the European. I mean, again, it goes back and forth. There's different arguments, but exactly what you said. There were people. I think that, a lot of people would agree that the UFC has been the premier MMA federation, organization, whatever you want to call promotion, probably for a long time, maybe ever, right? I probably can make that case, right? Pretty convincingly or relatively easily, in my opinion. Certainly in modern times. However, whether it's Strikeforce, Bellator, or others, we've seen people. Look at Michael Chandler. I mean, there's so many different names that you can name that have, been at any different organizations over him, and they come over and they go to UFC and they do great, or people from UFC go to another promotion, they don't do as well. So you've got great athletes, exactly right. You've got great athletes and elite fighters. And arm wrestlers in different promotions, and that shouldn't surprise anyone. So, okay, look, wrapping up, that's where we're at. We're going to see. We appreciate the comments. We appreciate the chat. The world's going to find out very, very soon. But bottom line, I like John Brzenk. If there's even a reasonably fair start, rules are enforced, and it doesn't always run to the strap and nobody gets hurt, I like John Brzenk in this. I'm saying John Brzenk 4-2 or better. I don't know. I'm sort of dissuaded from the 6-0, but I think if anyone's going to go 6-0, it's much more likely to be John Brzenk than Devon Larratt, because I think John Brzenk has the ability. I think if John Brzenk beats Larratt early, Devon Larratt, then he's cracked the code, and John Brzenk may be motivated to go for that 6-0. Whereas we've seen Devon Larratt do his thing, and then because John Brzenk is so versatile, there's so many different ways to get in. And then to some degrees, it's like chess. Like even if you have a fair start, if I'm trying to slip out and get to a strap, and we've seen this with Larratt, right? And John Brzenk locks in on that thumb, boom, that's a pin, right? Even if you've already beat him 2 or 3 times. Or if you're trying to load up and then I go forward, and there's, it's almost like rock, paper, scissors. So you don't know exactly what the person's going to do. Now, if you're some arm wrestler, some arm wrestlers, they have 1 or 2 good moves. Brzenk can do almost everything, right? So therefore he has more lanes to choose from. And if you make a mistake, you may have made the exact wrong mistake there. So anyway, I think it's much less likely for a shutout for Larratt. I think it's much more likely for a shutout for Brzenk. I don't expect it either way. I think this is going to be very competitive. I think it's very, very exciting, so we can't wait to see it. But listen, we will be here. I don't know. We may do something outside of the family and stuff like that tomorrow. The weather's amazing, so and I've got an awesome little girl who's always saying, "Hey, let's go to the playground, let's go to the beach." And so, but if not, if for any reason we're around, then be watching, because expect we may be doing a live reaction on this. Either way, we certainly will have some reaction to it, whether it's tomorrow or some. We will definitely have a reaction to this soon. We want to talk to you fans. We want to do it. We want to see it. And I don't think it's even that late, right? I can probably do this and then, maybe do so. I think this is, if I remember right, I think it's going to be 10 p.m. Dubai time. I think that translates into like 1 p.m. Eastern time. I got to double check. So I'm not going to commit to it, but at some point, we're definitely going to have reaction to what happened. But we may be live tomorrow while it's going on, doing our live reaction to it. So we'll see about that. Anyway, thank you guys so much. We really appreciate everybody watching out there. Good luck to both athletes. And yeah. And of course, when I say that, I'm men and women, everything like that. So I'm from Cali. I spent a lot of my life in Cali. I call everybody dude, including my wife. So it's one of those things. But men, women, everybody globally. Thank you so much for watching. Best of luck to all the athletes. Thank you so much, Core Sports, Larry Wheels, Strong Jim, everyone for putting this on, because this is the match that everybody wanted to see, and this is great. So it's a great thing for arm wrestling, and hopefully nobody gets hurt, and it's been fantastic and entertaining. And you've got you really do. This is the thing, and I'll stop on this. What's so great is not only are these two of the best ever, and John Brzenk's clearly the best ever. There's just no debate on that, in my opinion. Not a the resume is just too strong, and Travis Bates was saying that, but the personalities in the history, it's really phenomenal. I mean, if Travis Beijing had the resume of Brzenk, that's maybe the only way that it could be better, maybe. But I mean, Brzenk, it's just, this is the match that everybody wants to see. It's the match that everybody wants to see. And Levon, as great as he is and stuff like that, no disrespect to Levon, just not as interesting or engaging as, I mean, he's cool, and I liked a lot of the stuff he was doing with like Michael Todd over there and Larry Wheels, and look, Levon's cool. Don't get me wrong, but John Brzenk, this is the match everybody wants to see, and these are the two personalities, and it's just great. So, and I think Brzenk's saying, look, it could be. Who knows what we'll see after this. We have to see what happens tomorrow, and then we'll go from there. But this is just super interesting, and I'm excited about it. So, hey, for Paul, I'm John D. Villarreal. I appreciate you out there. We're going to see you tomorrow. We may be live reacting to it. At some point, we'll definitely have reaction to it. And this is going to be very exciting. I can't wait to see what happens. So, have a great night. Appreciate you. We'll see you later.